You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. If you're always blaming everybody else and not teaching your kids to be responsible for how their own life goes, they're not going to be happy adults. They're going to have a lot of problems. They're going to live with you till they're 35. They're going to expect you to pay their phone bills, and they're not going to want any responsibilities whatsoever because it's too hard. I'm exaggerating. I know. It's a passionate thing that every time I talk about this, I get upset. Because you can raise nice kids. That's what I'm teaching you here. Do not blame. I'm not blaming you if your kids aren't nice. I'm upset with you if you're blaming the school for it. Hello, welcome to the BratBusters Parenting Podcast. My name is Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother. I'm joined by my daughter, Amy, and she is not a mom yet. She is my business partner. She does all my marketing, all my social media, and all my planning. So basically, she tells me what to do, and I do it for the most part. And the only reason I tell you this is because she's so humble. She won't discuss how important her role is in the business, but she is my partner in the business, very important. And so this whole podcast was her idea, for example. So, okay. So Amy, do you want to say hello?
Hi, yes, I'm Amy Bunnage. I'm a marketer and a planner. Those are my two things. And yeah, we have done quite a few episodes of the podcast already, but I think the topic that comes up a little bit that we'll talk about today is, should school be responsible for your kids? You did a little inhale, so do you want to maybe speak your thoughts?
By the way, I never know what we're going to be talking about. Years and years ago, I used to have, this is a sore spot for me. This one gets my blood boiling, and I'll tell you why. Years and years ago, I used to have a column in the province, which is there was the Vancouver Sun and the Vancouver Province, and they were the two main newspapers here. And I had a parenting column about 16 years ago, maybe. And so and I got so sick and tired of parents writing in complaining that the school was not teaching their kids manners, social skills, all the stuff that, of course, is parenting. And I was getting really frustrated. So I wrote up, rather than answering a question, I wrote this whole spiel. It was like, stop expecting schools to parent. Ooh, you should have seen the mail that they got on that one. They hated it. All the parents hated it. On the flip side, I have never heard from so many principals and teachers in my whole life. They were emailing me saying, we have that up in our staff room all over the world. They connected with it, I guess. I don't know, it just got sent around, I guess. And they said we couldn't put it up on the bulletin board out in the hallway because all the parents would sue us. So, in other words, parents were relinquishing all the responsibilities of how their children turn out to the schools. And then when their kids were out of control, they blamed the school. It is your job to send nice, respectful children to school. It is not a teacher's job to raise your children. Their behavior is your responsibility, not the school's responsibility. And that's the best news you can hear, because you want to be raising your kids your own way anyway. When my kids were in grade 1, the first day I said to the teacher, if my kids ever step a toe out of line, never discipline them. Tell me, I'll take care of it. That's my job. Teachers love me, and they never stepped a toe out of line because I was a leader. So it is your job to send nice kids to school. That's your job. Don't blame the school if your kids are acting out. It's not their responsibility. Oh, I could go on about that. Oh,
I think you should.
I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Because you know why? Do you know how many classrooms I've sat in watching teachers trying to deal with all these riotous kids? And their hands are tied. They can't do anything. If they even look at a kid the wrong way these days, the parents are going to sue them. I mean, their hands are tied. They're quitting. Teachers are quitting right, left, and center. They're saints as far as I'm concerned. I could never teach, ever. I would never want to. I could never do it. They're saints. And the most difficult thing by far that every single teacher has ever told me is dealing with bad behavior because the parents aren't willing to do the discipline, do the work at home. And then those are the most high maintenance, difficult parents too, because they blame the school for it. They're always looking to blame someone else. I don't know why parents, and this all came in with the pleaser parent style. It all happened then. It's like the kids, because of course it doesn't work. It's useless. The kids just totally take control. They're out of control. And then the parents, because they're pleaser parents, they don't know how to be a leader. They don't know how to discipline, or they refuse to do so. Or if they try it, they yell and then it doesn't work. And then, it's a disaster. So it all came in with the pleaser parent style. And the teachers, I saw it coming. I thought, what a disaster. We are in for trouble if this sticks, and it's stuck for about 40 years now. I think it's going out of style because people are realizing it didn't work. You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. If you're always blaming everybody else and not teaching your kids to be responsible for how their own life goes, how to teach them how to be good people and treat people with respect, they're not going to be happy adults. They're going to have a lot of problems. They're going to live with you till they're 35. They're going to expect you to pay their phone bills, and they're not going to want any responsibilities whatsoever because it's too hard. I'm exaggerating. I know. It's a passionate thing that every time I talk about this, I get upset because you can raise nice kids. That's what I'm teaching you here. Do not blame. I'm not blaming you if your kids aren't nice. I'm upset with you if you're blaming the school for it. That's what upsets me about it. You're passing the blame, you're passing the responsibility, and you're passing the power. Why would you want someone else raising your kids, teaching them about sex, social skills, manners, hygiene? I've even heard that. Oh, my kids, they don't like showering or anything. The school's teaching them nothing about hygiene. Are you freaking kidding me? You expect the school to teach your kids how to shower? What the heck? Anyway, okay, I should shut up. I'm getting all upset here. My daughter's just looking at me like, woo. She's on a tangent, but this one bothers me because I hate seeing all these teachers go through this. It bothers me. It's not right. It's wrong. Your kids are your responsibility, not the school's. They're there to teach them academics and to keep them alive. Anything past that is a bonus. They're also not there to teach your children about nutrition. That's another one. Or sex. That's your job. That's all your job, to teach them about sex, nutrition, manners, money. That's your job. Teach them about money management. Okay, I will shut up now. For a minute. Are you going to cancel this episode? She probably will. She doesn't like confrontation. She doesn't like that when I get all upset.
It's the first minute-long podcast episode we've ever had. It's just going to be the intro and the ending, and that's it.
And thanks for joining us. But you get my point here. And the thing is that the teachers, a huge portion of my clients are teachers. They're not parenting experts either. They know how to run a classroom. I couldn't do that. You're expecting a teacher to raise your kids, but they're not parents themselves, or a lot of them are struggling with their own parenting issue. Parenting is different from teaching. It's very different. I wouldn't want other people raising my kids. I want to teach them about all this stuff. Why would you want someone else raising your kids? The thing is, I'm here to empower you to do so. So it's not like I'm just criticizing if you do feel that it's a school's responsibility. It's not that I'm saying you don't need to pass the buck. You can do this. You can raise nice kids with high self-esteem and are proud of themselves. They have self-respect and they respect you. You can do this. That's all I teach here. That's it. I'm teaching you how to be a leader.
You know what? I think that actually might be helpful, is maybe if somebody is in a situation where they've been blaming the school and they're like, okay, I want to be a leader. Like, what are some tangible next steps that they could take to actually go in that direction?
Well, you can work with the school, by the way. If your kids are acting out at school, you can say, look, I want to be a better parent. Say it like this. I want to be a better parent. If you have any tips or hints for me, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, it is my job. But I'm going to try this or that. And you can actually tell them, send them an email. Don't hold the teacher up after school. They hate that. They've got stuff to do. Their job doesn't end when the bell goes, okay? So they've got other stuff to do. But send them an email and make it short and sweet, because it's not their job, but just say, they usually really appreciate that, okay? So ask their advice if they have any tips. If not, just say, okay, thanks anyway, I really appreciate that. And then follow me or follow someone else that you trust. If you're going to take parenting advice from someone, though, there's two criteria. There's no way I would take parenting advice from someone without these two criteria. They have to have finished the job with their own kids. So in other words, have they lived with teenagers? Do they know where they're going? Do they know what they're doing now is going to invest in the teen years or not? The second one is they have to have worked with hundreds of other kids. This is all extremely experience-based. You can't teach this unless you've had experience. So anyway, look that up. If it's not me, it's someone else, and set yourself up as a leader. It takes time. It's a lot of work, but boy, it's worth it. So you can do this. Check out the behavior board. It's completely free. It's actually a mini course. So that's completely free. Go to BratBusters.com. That's free. You can see my courses and coaching too, but the behavior board's completely free. You can start there.
And then what would be maybe your top 3 leadership qualities?
I find this boring. I don't like what I've written, but I don't know why. I just don't like saying this one. I just don't like the way I wrote it. But it's true. I can't change it because it's true. These are my top 3 leadership qualities. You stay calm during the storms. What I mean by that is when there's anger and tempers and you're disciplining, it's like a business transaction. 0 emotions on your part. In other words, you stay on the high road and let them join you up there. Don't join them on the low road, arguing and getting into arguments and all that stuff. Number 2 is you be crazy during the rainbows. When you're playing with kids, laugh, be crazy, be goofy, be fun. It's sort of, they're kind of in charge of the fun. So calm during the storms, crazy during the rainbows. And number 3, when they're past the age of about 4 or 5 years old, become a great listener. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, because you want to encourage them to solve their own problems. So if they're complaining about something, say, oh, that would be frustrating. What do you think you should do? I did this with my kids all the time. So I never told them what to do. I just would sort of encourage them to think for themselves, but I was feeding them some ideas. But yeah, those are my top 3 tips. Crazy during the storms, calm during the storms, crazy during the rainbows, and be a great listener.
I like how you really sold that. This is really boring, so keep listening.
Well, I just don't like the way I wrote it, but I can't change it because it makes sense. Anyway, because it's so short, I don't know, I just don't like it. But anyway, I've never changed it because that's exactly the way I feel.
Okay, we have a few questions. Do you want to move on to those?
Yes.
Perfect. So, Carrie from the United States, I really need some advice. My daughter, almost 6, is very strong-willed. She's a boundary pusher. I've done the behavior board and it's really improved things. However, when she is getting sick or is sick, she is the biggest jerk. She is disrespectful to everyone. She had a substitute teacher on Monday and she was crawling all over the tables, under the tables, and not listening. The teacher's demeanor was very insecure, so I know that didn't help. The assistant principal was called in, though, to help keep her under control. Today, Thursday, she had another episode again with another teacher and had to help to stop her behavior. She was just not listening to the PE coach, doing the opposite of what he was asking, running in a completely different direction of everyone else. Consequences do not seem to faze her. She cleans, pulls weeds, wipes baseboards, still continues the behavior, sometimes almost immediately following a consequence when she is sick or getting sick. When she is not sick, she is still a boundary pusher, but she will correct herself. We do not act this way. We are respectful people. I don't understand what is happening. I do not let her get away with things. When I say I'm doing something, like taking something away or having her clean, I follow through. Yelling has been an issue for me because she just pushes to that point that triggers me. However, the behavior board has been a huge help. I'm very concerned she's going to have trouble in school with her behavior. I want to help before it gets to that point.
Okay, a few things in there. I don't know why she's at school when she's sick. I don't know why, but anyway. Okay, so she's a boundary pusher. The only reason she's pushing boundaries is because she thinks there's an opportunity to move them. That's why, 100%. Past the age of 4, they only do what works. If it works sometimes, they're going to keep doing it. It can never work. Once you've set a boundary and if you ever hedge on that or fudge that, she'll keep pushing. So you've trained her to do that for sure, guaranteed. So you've trained her that if she comes at you hard enough, you will change. The boundary is not in cement like it should be. But pick your battles. Don't, like a lot of parents, the reason why they can't hold the boundaries is they've got too many of them. They've come in too hard, too fast. A lot of parents do this. That's it. I'm going to be a totally different parent. And this, I'm going to change this and that. And it's too much. They get overwhelmed, right? So yeah, that's why the behavior board, you start with one rule or one boundary per week. Start there, master that one, then go on to the next. It's a learning tool. Like I would never use a behavior board. It's a teaching tool. So it's teaching you how to stick to boundaries, basically. And you're on there too. That's what makes it work. So yeah, she's trained you. She's trained you that if she keeps going, she'll eventually get her own way. Yeah, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it has to happen sometimes. There's no way she would keep doing that. I can't help you at school. You fix what's going on at home, and then that will bleed over into school.
Okay. The next question is Anita from Czech Republic. My daughter, 8 years old, cries every day before school. She's scared of school, of making mistakes, getting bad grades, and her teacher being mad at her. There is no push on grades on our side at home, and teacher and friends at school are fine. Do you have any suggestions on how to help her, please?
Well, I don't know. She just said the teacher is fine at the end. So it sounded like the teacher was, had the whip going and it's terrified your girl. And then you said that she's fine at the end. So I don't understand that. A bit of a contradiction. You got to work on her self-esteem. So the way you do that is you connect with her, play with her in her world a lot. Also have boundaries. Never yell. Yelling, she's probably a sensitive child. She doesn't like getting into trouble. You were like that. Oh, you hated getting into trouble. So never yell. That'll has a great bad effect on kids, and especially sensitive kids. So yeah, just have, I don't know what to say. I'm confused by that though. The teacher, it sounds like it could be like there's something going on at school. If she cries every day before school, there's something has to be going on. The reason why I don't really want to answer that too effectively is because I would need to ask a lot of questions. When did this start? Did she always hate school, or was it just this one teacher? Have you talked to the teacher? Have you talked to the other kids' parents? Are they having the same problems? So yeah, sorry, but I'd have to delve into that to know more.
So you're recommending a little bit more investigation on
I
the
would.
parent?
I would ask the teacher, any ideas? And then I would ask the other kids' parents. Are they having the same problem? Both my kids I think they both had her. She was not a good teacher. And I would never say her name, but if anyone who knows my kids, they might know who this was. She didn't end up staying for that long at school. She wasn't cut out for teaching. And, but yeah, it was funny because I thought that I was the only one, and I never say anything. I told my kids, I'm glad you got her because you're going to get bad bosses one day too. So it's good practice, right? But yeah, I asked the other parents and none of them liked her. They thought she shouldn't be teaching. So ask the other parents. You might learn something. See what they say. Because maybe the teacher is hard on the kids and maybe, shouldn't be. Or maybe they are fine, but your daughter's highly sensitive and you have to toughen her up a bit. So yeah, but I would definitely look into that. I would do some investigating. Yep, absolutely. Because I asked the other parents, I said, what do you think of this teacher? And they said, oh, my kids hate this teacher. And they said she's always insulting the kids. And I thought, yeah, okay, so it's not just me.
Okay, so I was a little overly sensitive. How did you toughen me up?
I said, toughen up. Like I never put up with it. I said, you know what? Because we had such a good home life. And I said, this is where you're safe. This is it. The rest of the world is not always going to be good to you. So suck it up. That's basically what I taught them. And they were good. They learned. Didn't you?
I did learn.
Yeah. I'm not a pleaser parent. I don't want to make everything easy for them. I'm quite happy when they come up against challenges because our home life was great. They were very happy at home, very safe place, and they could tell me everything. And, but yeah, I wasn't going to go into the rescue and try and change the class, so they got an easier teacher or something. That's the pleaser parent style. You want to save the day, but you end up really struggling as a parent because your kids are out of control.
But you did help me work it through. And I think I could come home, talk about the issues that I was having, work it through. And then I think there was a sense of pride because I dealt with it on my own.
Well, I like to act kind of tough. Of course, I discussed it with her, and we would role play, and we would say, I kind of like to act, suck it up, princess. But yeah, no, we did work it through. And I said, you might try this, you might try that. And then I told her stories about what I went through. We're all going to get bad teachers, bad bosses, or bad someone beside you at the checkout who says something snotty. This is life, right? Toughen up. I believe most people are good, but the odd sour one is the one you tend to remember because they hit a nerve. So I would sort of give her some ideas and then she'd find her own way. And same with my son. I made them bully proof. I was bully proof. And because that's another episode. I think we already talked about that, but how to bully proof your kids. But yeah, so I toughened them up. But when they came home, they told me everything. That was a soft place to land. They always had that. And that's what keeps them strong because they always had that soft place to land at home.
Just note, we haven't done the bully proof yet, but we will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, next question is Destry from Canada. My 8-year-old is having trouble with conflict resolution at school. When upset, he's hands-on and doesn't know how to let the problem go, dragging it on. How do I correct this behavior?
Okay, that's something that usually starts at home. It's a pattern. It's a social behavior. So that usually starts at home. Do you let it drag on at home? Right? Because they don't have different personalities when they go to school. They're still the same people. So you must let it drag on or give in. So it's either way. You're either letting him go on and on and on at home, or you're giving in. So he figures if he goes on and on and on at school, they'll give in like you do. That's the only two options I can see.
Okay.
Simple one.
We have one final one. So Emily from the United States. My 5-year-old just started kindergarten, and he is claimed to be bullied by a couple of different kids. I've already told the school with little change. What do I do?
The school can't do much about it because they don't see everything. They're very busy, okay? They can't sit and watch one kid the whole time. That's why. So, but if it's physical bullying, then I would never teach a child how to defend themselves. I would never teach self-defense to a child. Not all bullies are They're cowards. They're often very practiced, nasty fighters. So I would never put a kid in that position. So I have to talk about bully proofing now because that's what's come up. Okay. I'll tell you what I did. I was never bullied. My kids were never bullied. But I was in grade 2. Now I was a talker. I was raised basically by 3 adults. My brother was 16 years older. My parents were older. So I was raised with a bunch of adults. And so I was a very good talker. So kind of a little bit advanced, I think, because all I talked to at home was adults, right? So I want to preface it by saying that. So anyway, I was in grade 2 and I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of class, which I'd never done before. And when I came out of the bathroom, the hallway was empty. I'd never seen that at school before because I'm in grade 2. I'd never been in an empty hallway. It's always full. Darned if that school bully wasn't coming out of the principal's office at the same time. And he saw me. We had to meet in the hallway and it was just the two of us. He was licking his chops. He thought, oh, I'm going to get her. My last name at the time was Hanky. So he comes up right in my face and he goes, Hanky Panky. And I said to him, I prefer Snot Rag and Boogie Bundle. Oh, well, got to get back to class. He looked shocked and he never came near me again. So what I teach children how to do, or parents how to teach teach their children, is you agree with the bully, use humor if possible, and then give them an out. So, and you role play this at home. I did this with my own kids. I would be the bully, or I'd be them, and then they would pretend to be the bully. And when you're doing this, never role play with what they're actually being bullied about. So let's say they're being bullied about having big ears. You don't use that in role playing because words still hurt, right? So look at those big ears. I know, it'd just be awful. So like put like a silly hat on and say, oh, stupid looking hat. So, and you role play and you do it like this. So let's say they say you got really big ears. So then, or whatever, if they don't have big ears, they say, yeah, the whole family does. It makes us really easy of hearing. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, what's your favorite game? So you change the subject. You give the bully an out. If you don't give them the out, they're going to come back again because it's their pride, right? And bullies are the most insecure people you'll ever meet. The nastiest people are the most miserable, most insecure people you'll ever meet. But knowing that, like I used to tell my kids that, and my mom used to say that to me, well, it's because they're not happy. That didn't help me. I already knew how to deal with it evidently anyway. But yeah, I was no one ever came near me. And same with my kids. They were never bullied. I mean, I'm sure people say the odd nasty thing, but they were bullying is when it's ongoing, right? So, but they go on to the next victim who does get upset. So if you don't show that you're upset, doesn't bother you at all, even if it does, don't show it. Don't show weakness. The worst thing you can do with a bully is show that they're bugging you because that's what they're after. They want to knock other people down to build themselves up. They try to step on other people to build themselves up. That's what all insecure people do. It's just what they do. It's their MO. What does MO stand for? I never know. Modius, what is it?
Main objective, I think.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, it's an identity.
Oh.
It's Greek or Latin or something. MO. What's their MO?
Okay. Don't know then.
Okay, never mind. We'll look it up later. But whenever I say it, I think I probably shouldn't say this because I don't know what the heck it means. But anyway, yeah, bullies are all cowards in that they feel like crap about themselves, but they're often good fighters. What does it mean?
Modus operandi.
Yeah, modus. It's the way you operate.
Wow, I was way off. I've been making main objective my entire life.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you're 30. Look at you, just learned something new today.
Every day.
Anyway, so that's bullying. That's how you bully-proof your children. If it's already been going on for a long time, it's much harder to do. By the way, why do you role play it with your kids? Why would you do that? Why not just tell them what to say? Why do people who are in theater ever get up and do a dress rehearsal? Why don't they just read what they're supposed to say and say it? No, it's playing it out, sort of acting it out. You do rehearsals and it's the exact same idea. If your children have said the right thing, they agree with them, use humor, and then they have an out. They change the subject, in other words. If they learn how to do that with you, it comes out more naturally when they're under stress and under duress. If you just tell them what to say, they're going to go, oh, I want my mommy. But if they've already practiced it, it'll just fall out of their mouths. So,
Going through the motions.
So yeah, bullying. I don't get asked about it very often anymore. It used to be number one topic for years and years and years in my business. Now I don't hear about it very often. It's interesting, isn't it? Why is that? I don't know. Maybe because it's more online, more, sneaky. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Was that the last question?
That was. I think a really nice story to end on might be when I got bullied up at the top. At the end of the day, and my brother came in for the rescue.
Oh, so cute. I just told this. I don't know if I told it on a live or I think I told it on a live. So cute. He was 5 years older. Now she was in grade 1, so he would have been in grade 6. Now, at the very top gate where I picked them up, and in school, they separate the older kids from the younger kids. So they never saw each other all day. And of course, at the top gate, he's hanging out with his friends and just ignoring his sister over there, right? So anyway, they get in the car after school, and what had happened was she was telling me this big, awful, mean kid, his name was, he had to have constant supervision. He had some issues, but he was mean.
Are we okay to say the name?
Sure, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, he had to be supervised, but at the top gate, his mother, like literally his mother had to be with him all day at school. He was mean. He had some issues, whatever. And when your kid's the victim, you're not exactly thrilled with this kid not being supervised, right? So anyway, he was at the top gate, saw her standing alone. He's in grade 5. My son was in grade 6. But this kid was big. My son was shorty, right? Real short little guy with a high voice. And he's tall now, but he was really short growing up. So short that when they were 8 and 13, they were almost the same height. He was that short. And then he shot up to 6 feet tall by the time he was 15, I think it was. But anyway, so at the top gate, this kid had come over to my daughter, the little tiny grade 1, and he says, "I'm going to kill you." And my son had heard, obviously he's keeping an eye on his sister, right? He walked over and looked up at this. He goes, "You have to get through me first." Is that the cutest thing? He was protecting her. And this big, they were all afraid of him. And he stood up to this big, scary kid to protect his little sister. Is that the cutest thing? So he was keeping an eye on her.
From afar.
From afar. Good point. From a distance, but he came racing over. Anyway, and of course, he backed right down. So anyway, isn't that cute? Okay, so I think that's it. We're going to end here. Goodbye from our BratBusters Parenting Podcast from Lisa and
Amy.
Okay, we'll talk to you next time. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out BratBusters.com to learn more about the behavior board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit BratBusters.com/disclaimer.